EU Parliament calls for a ban on social media for child influencers, suggesting children should be at least 16 to use social media, according to MEPs. U.S. court filings claim Meta concealed causal evidence of social media harm. Australia includes Twitch in its teen social media ban, exempts Pinterest, and CNN questions the impact of removing millions of teens from social media, noting Australia is about to experience this firsthand.
Bank of America is facing a proposed class action lawsuit for allegedly not compensating employees for the time spent booting up their computers. Campbell's dismissed the vice president who was recorded stating that its meat was produced using a 3D printer. According to The Nature, a significant AI conference was inundated with peer reviews that were entirely composed by AI.
Human brain undergoes quiet rewiring at ages 9, 32, 66, and 83. A Monash study reveals that music may reduce the risk of dementia by as much as 40%. European lawmakers are advocating for an EU-wide minimum age requirement to access AI chatbots and social media. OpenAI is estimated by HSBC to require a minimum of $207 billion by 2030 to sustain its financial losses, while its partners accumulate a $100 billion debt to support its goals. Trump issues an executive order initiating an AI initiative likened to the Manhattan Project. Leading Chinese universities introduce courses in embodied intelligence to benefit the robotics sector.
The United Nations reports that Jakarta has surpassed Tokyo to become the largest city globally. In an energy agreement with Alberta, Canada has reversed certain climate regulations. Scientists from NASA have identified small lightning strikes occurring on Mars.
Warner Music Group reaches a significant agreement with Suno, resolving a copyright lawsuit involving an AI music generator. In the UK, police will test AI agents on the 101 service. According to FT, OpenAI's Sam Altman announces a code red situation following competitors' progress.
Walt Disney Imagineering unveils advanced robotic character, Olaf. Prada Group announces acquisition of fashion competitor Versace in a transaction valued at approximately $1.4 billion. Use of smartphones by children at age 12 associated with deteriorated health outcomes.
In South Korea, Kuwang reports a data breach exposing personal information of nearly 34 million customers, with the South Korean government stating that Coupang's electronic signature key was exploited during the breach, which occurred from June to November. CISA issues a warning that spyware groups are infiltrating Signal and WhatsApp accounts. Singapore mandates Apple and Google to block government spoofing on messaging platforms. Leading consultancies halt salary increases due to AI's impact on the traditional pyramid structure. The U.S. Patent Office releases updated rules for inventions aided by AI. A survey indicates that global central banks are cautious about AI and face challenges in reducing reliance on the dollar.
China's central bank reiterates its prohibition on cryptocurrencies and highlights potential risks associated with stable coins after a meeting involving multiple agencies. Morgan Stanley predicts that the downturn in mainland China's property market will continue until 2026. The head of Brazil's central bank states that inflation is declining because of inexpensive imports from China.
Amazon and Google introduce a multi-cloud service aimed at enhancing connectivity speed. NATO selects Google to develop an air-gapped sovereign cloud. In the UK, a pay-per-mile tax will be imposed on electric cars and plug-in hybrids.
An MIT study indicates that artificial intelligence is currently capable of performing tasks equivalent to those of 12% of the American workforce. Singapore has surpassed Switzerland in the global talent ranking, driven by its readiness for AI, while the United States has dropped to the 9th position. The Wall Street Journal notes that robots and artificial intelligence are already transforming the Chinese economy. Australia enacts streaming quotas legislation, a milestone for screen storytelling, declares production organization. New EU law holds social media platforms accountable for financial fraud. Company behind ChatGPT attributes young boy's death to improper use of its technology.
The Economist notes that the Chinese pharmaceutical industry is on the verge of expanding internationally. Bloomberg states that a memo from October 7 by the Pentagon mentioned Alibaba in relation to military aid from China. The Chinese government is feeling uneasy about robots due to the presence of over 150 companies in this sector.
(1,900) flights between China and Japan were cancelled in December due to ongoing political tensions, following a new confrontation between Chinese and Japanese Coast Guard vessels near the disputed Diaoyu Islands. In North Korea, Kim Jong-un showcased his daughter and missiles, while expressing interest in acquiring Russian jets and promising to supply new strategic assets for the Air Force. Meanwhile, Russia's sole operational launch pad for cosmonauts was damaged during a Soyuz crew launch to the International Space Station. The White House issues an ultimatum to Maduro as the U.S. prepares for potential land operations, following reports that Trump demanded Maduro step down in Venezuela. Wall Street Journal discusses the influx of cocaine into Europe by Venezuelan gangs and African jihadists. Trump acknowledges a conversation with Maduro and mandates the shutdown of Venezuelan airspace.
The U.S. Immigration Agency has initiated a review of green card holders from 19 countries deemed of concern. This follows the U.S. reviewing Biden's asylum cases after a shooting incident. Meanwhile, NOAM has announced a comprehensive travel ban plan following a meeting with Trump, and the U.S. State Department has ceased processing visas for Afghan allies. Additionally, Trump has paused all asylum applications and halted visas for Afghans. The U.S. has stopped all asylum claim decisions after a National Guard shooting, with Afghan national Ramanullah Lakanwal, who arrived in the U.S. during the 2021 withdrawal, identified as the alleged terrorist gunman in the shooting of 2 National Guard members in D.C. It has been reported that the Afghan gunman worked for the CIA and was allowed entry by the Biden administration.
In the U.S., numerous trucking schools may lose their accreditation due to a Department of Transportation crackdown, following the Trump administration's revocation of licenses from many trucker training centers. A federal review indicates that 44% of U.S. trucking schools fail to meet government regulations. The White House is urging Congress to grant drone powers in anticipation of the World Cup and Olympics. U.S. air travelers lacking real IDs will incur a $45 fee. Treasury Secretary initiates an investigation into the potential misuse of Minnesota tax funds to support al-Shabaab terrorists. A new youth wing is established by Germany's far-right party amidst large-scale protests. France's far-right leader is struck by an egg shortly after being targeted with flour.
Costco initiates legal action against the Trump administration in pursuit of tariff refunds prior to a Supreme Court decision on their legality. Trump suggests that income taxes might be abolished soon as a result of tariffs. The EU withdraws its WTO lawsuit against China concerning the purported coercion of Lithuania.
The World Health Organization, WHO, has issued its inaugural set of guidelines concerning GLP-1s. The Food and Drug Administration, FDA, plans to enforce stricter regulations on vaccines following a memo that links the COVID-19 vaccine to the deaths of children. According to the White House, former President Trump underwent an MRI as part of a preventive cardiovascular examination.
Hong Kong police detained 13 individuals on charges of manslaughter related to a fire, as additional suspects are apprehended in the ongoing investigation, with the death toll reaching 151. The death toll from floods in Indonesia has surpassed 750, with 1 million people evacuated, while floods in Indonesia, Sri Lanka, and Thailand have resulted in over 1,140 fatalities. Cuba reports that 33 people have died due to mosquito-borne diseases as the epidemic continues to spread.
Trump asserts his intention to invalidate executive orders signed by Joe Biden using an autopen. According to sources, Trump declined requests made by Maduro during a phone call, leaving limited options for the Venezuelan leader. Michael and Susan Dell have contributed $6.25 billion to motivate families to claim Trump accounts.
Trump has announced his intention to pardon former Honduran President Hernandez for his 2024 drug trafficking conviction. Former Bangladeshi Prime Minister Hasina and her niece, a British lawmaker, have both been convicted of corruption. Trump has stated that he would absolutely revoke the citizenship of certain individuals if he possessed the authority.
Denmark establishes a night watch to prevent Trump from taking over Greenland while they are asleep. Canada consents to participate in an EU initiative aimed at increasing defense expenditures. Hungary's Orbán pursues additional Russian oil and gas during discussions with Putin at the Kremlin.
Tajikistan strengthens its border defenses following cross-border assaults from Afghanistan that resulted in the deaths of 5 individuals. Ukraine focuses on targeting Russia's covert fleet as it intensifies its drone warfare efforts. In South Korea, President Lee Jae-myung suggests re-establishing communication channels with North Korea.
Nigeria's defense minister steps down due to a security crisis, according to the presidency. Zelensky's chief of staff resigns following a search of his home by anti-corruption investigators. Euractiv reports that police conducted raids on the EU External Action Service and the College of Europe as part of a comprehensive fraud investigation. Stay informed about the latest developments in cryptocurrency, politics, technology, and beyond with News Sir Scrawler's edition covering the period from August 18, 2025, to August 25, 2025.